In Washington, the spotlight is on one of the most high-stakes diplomatic meetings of the year. Former President Donald Trump, back in office and shaping global headlines once again, is pressing Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to make concessions that could change the course of the war. Just days after meeting with Vladimir Putin in Alaska, Trump has declared that Zelensky could end the war almost immediately if he wants to, a statement that has rattled allies in Europe and fueled speculation about a dramatic shift in U.S. foreign policy. Trump's message was blunt and broadcast publicly through his favorite megaphone, Truth Social. On Sunday night, he insisted that Ukraine should abandon its hopes of joining NATO and forget about reclaiming Crimea. These demands echo long-standing Russian talking points, creating the impression that the U.S. president is aligning himself with Vladimir Putin's view of how the war should end. This is not just rhetoric. Trump's remarks came hours before Zelensky's arrival in Washington, where he was scheduled to meet not only the U.S. president, but also a lineup of Europe's most powerful leaders, Emmanuel Macron of France, Friedrich Merz of Germany, and Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom. The stakes could not be higher. Ukraine is seeking security guarantees as strong as NATO's Article 5 commitment, while Trump appears to be pushing for compromises that would favor Moscow. President Zelensky entered Washington with defiance rather than despair. Hours before his White House meeting, he condemned Russian missile and drone strikes on Kharkiv and Zaporizhzhia as, quote, cynical attacks designed to weaken Ukraine's bargaining position. Zelensky's message to both Trump and European leaders was clear. Ukraine will not cede territory, not Crimea, not the Donbass, and not Kharkiv. To do so, he argued, would reward aggression and embolden Russia to strike again. This defiance, however, puts him on a collision course with Trump, who insists the war could be ended quickly if only Ukraine would compromise. Zelensky is gambling that European solidarity and continued U.S. support from Congress can shield him from the pressure coming from the Oval Office. Standing alongside Zelensky in Washington were Europe's top leaders. They know that Trump's skepticism toward NATO and his friendly tone with Putin could unravel the fragile balance of Western unity. France's Emmanuel Macron has called for an unbreakable security guarantee for Ukraine. Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz, facing pressure at home from both hawks and skeptics, is urging Trump to stay firm against Moscow. And Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, in one of his first major international tests, is making the case for long-term Western support. For Europe, the meeting in Washington is not just about Ukraine. It is about their own security, their own credibility, and the survival of the post-Cold War order. The backdrop to this drama is Trump's recent summit with Vladimir Putin in Alaska. That meeting produced few concrete announcements, but it offered a striking glimpse into Trump's approach. He downplayed Ukraine's NATO ambitions, avoided strong condemnations of Russian aggression, and hinted at territorial compromises. To critics, this is not diplomacy, it is capitulation. To supporters, it is pragmatism, an attempt to end a bloody war that has stretched into its fourth year. For Zelensky, however, it raises the fear that Washington may be preparing to trade away Ukraine's sovereignty in the name of peace. This is not the first time U.S. policy toward Ukraine has shifted dramatically under Trump. During his first presidency, he was impeached for pressuring Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden's family. Now, in his second term, the tables are turned. Trump is pressuring Zelensky again, this time to give up parts of his country in exchange for peace. The difference today is that the consequences are far more immediate. Ukraine is still under attack. Millions of civilians remain displaced. Russia continues to escalate with drone strikes and missile barrages. And Western unity, the strongest weapon Kyiv has, appears to be weakening. So, where does this leave the war? If Trump succeeds in pressuring Zelensky, Ukraine could face a settlement that freezes the conflict, leaving Russian forces in control of large swaths of territory. That would mirror the situation in Korea after 1953, a ceasefire without a true peace treaty. If Zelensky resists, Ukraine will continue fighting, relying heavily on European support and whatever aid it can still secure from Congress. But the risk is that Russia, emboldened by Trump's rhetoric, will escalate further, believing time is on its side. The reality is grim. Every option carries costs. Every path forward is uncertain. The world is watching. China, India, and other global players are closely monitoring how Trump handles Ukraine, calculating whether Western resolve is crumbling. Russia, of course, sees opportunity. In Moscow, state media hailed Trump's Alaska summit as a victory for Putin. Meanwhile, in Kyiv, ordinary Ukrainians express both gratitude for Western support and fear of abandonment. Many say they will fight on, with or without American backing. In Washington, the meeting between Trump, Zelensky, and Europe's top leaders is more than just another diplomatic photo op. It is a test of whether the West can remain united, or whether pressure from Washington will fracture that unity. For Ukraine, the stakes could not be higher. The survival of its sovereignty, its territorial integrity, and its very identity as an independent nation are on the line. We will continue following this story as it develops, bringing you the latest updates and analysis. If you found this analysis helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to IGOR'S News, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Should Ukraine compromise to end the war, or stand firm no matter the cost? Your voice matters. Stay informed, stay critical, and we'll see you in the next report.